When it comes to learning, most people immediately think of books, and for many, books are an instant turn-off. The great thing is that there are now so many methods of learning that there really is something for everyone on every topic. It's incredibly exciting. As never before in the history of man has there been so many learning options, and never has it been easier to acquire the knowledge that you need. In this section, I'm going to go through a dozen major learning methods. They include all the major learning methods along with a few that many people overlook. First, there's the obvious one, books. Some people love them. I'm definitely in that camp, and other people don't, particularly it seems youngsters. The reason books have been so successful over the years and why you definitely shouldn't rule them out is that they are probably the most effective way of distilling knowledge of a topic down into a small physical package that's easy to consume. Imagine a book as being like a pill. You swallow the pill and it makes you better. You consume the book and you acquire the knowledge that the author has. So don't rule books out, please. Now, if you don't like physical books, maybe you could get yourself an e-reader or download a book onto your tablet or smartphone. And if you really struggle to focus on a book, which some people do, just chunk it up. Set a goal of reading for just, say, 10 minutes a day. You'll be amazed at how quickly you'll get through a book. And before you know it, your 10 minutes a day will grow into 15, then 20, then 30, and voila, you've become a bookworm. You never know. Next, we have audiobooks. Now, when I was a kid, my father used to play stories to us on vinyl records. At that time, nobody had coined the term audiobooks, so they were just talking records or whatever they called them back then. I loved them, really, really loved them. Now, when I was at university, we didn't have a video recorder. They were new and expensive at the time, so I used to record movies onto audio cassette tape and then I'd listen to them when going to sleep at night. I suppose it was like a continuation of those vinyl records that my father used to play. This love of spoken word recordings has continued, and luckily the rest of the world now seems to have caught up. You can now get spoken word recordings, or audio books as they now call them, on every topic under the sun. If you don't like reading, audiobooks are an amazing alternative. And if you do like reading but don't always have the time, well, audiobooks let you continue reading of sorts even when you can't turn the pages because you're jogging, you're driving, or you're laid in bed with your eyes closed. Moving on, we have video. Video has taken off in such an amazing way. Only 2 decades ago, pretty much all moving images were controlled by either the TV broadcasters or the film producers. Now there's video everywhere, from cute cats and kids doing crazy things to amazing documentaries, seminars and workshops that have been filmed, and the most amazing instructional videos on every topic that you can imagine. It really is truly amazing. Video can be terrifically engaging and entertaining, which is always good for learning, and can be perfect for showing you rather than just telling you. Next, we have a very modern way of learning, which often makes excellent use of video, and that's online courses. Online courses range from short courses of an hour or less through to some seriously in-depth courses. One that I was involved in, The Complete Guide to Traffic, came in at an incredible 53 hours. And I know there was more than one student who said it was more in-depth than a whole year of their university degree. There are some wonderful resources when it comes to online courses, and I'll share some of my favourites in the next session. Next, we have a learning method which I've always found pretty mind-blowing: webinars. The idea of bringing 1,000 people together at the same time in a virtual space to all watch the same screen at the same time, well, to me, it just sounds so much like tomorrow's world, but it's real. Every day there are thousands of amazing webinars happening, and the breadth of topics, well, it's absolutely staggering. A cool thing about webinars is that in many cases, they'll allow you to actually interact, to maybe post a question or even become one of the speakers. Which leads me on to seminars. Seminars are the old-fashioned version of webinars. Instead of you being in a virtual classroom in cyberspace, you're talking real bricks and mortar. Yes, it can be time-consuming and costly to get to some events, particularly if they're not local to you, but often the electricity generated by the attendees at such events can be well worth the effort, and they can be great for networking too. I love a good seminar, and I'm always on the lookout for ones happening nearby, and have on the odd occasion been known to speak at them, which can be fun too. On a bigger scale, we have conferences. Conferences are like seminars on steroids. Rather than just a single class, they tend to offer multiple training opportunities, workshops, meetups, keynote addresses, and often exhibition stands from relevant businesses. The problem is that they're often not cheap. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that some of them are ridiculously expensive. But if you can find the right one at the right price, they can be an amazing learning and networking experience. And then there's college/university/school. When it comes to learning experiences, you definitely shouldn't rule out conventional places of learning, such as schools, colleges and universities. Many offer evening classes, part-time classes, as well as the usual full-time courses, and some of them even offer summer schools. I originally graduated in business and finance, but then went on to do a short full-time course for a year in entrepreneurship and business strategy, and then a few years later I went back part-time, did a postgraduate qualification in direct marketing. Now, have I found all this knowledge to be useful? Hell yes. Did I learn everything that I needed on those courses? Definitely not. In all seriousness, I've learned way more out of the conventional educational environment than I ever did whilst I was in it. And these days, I reckon you can learn more under your own steam, quicker and easier than you can by devoting several years of your life to get a piece of paper and some initials after your name. Next, we have coaching and mentoring. Coaching can be a brilliant way to acquire the inside track on a topic, but you need to find the right coach. That's absolutely crucial. Often, coaching isn't the cheapest option, but if you're lucky and you find that perfect coach, it's amazing how quickly you can acquire the knowledge that you need. And in the process, you'll often be absorbing years of experience that will save you having to make all the same mistakes, all the mistakes that it took to acquire that knowledge in the first place. Mentoring is slightly different to coaching. A mentor can totally transform the way you work and the success you have in business or in your career. Some mentors you just stumble across if you're lucky, others you need to actively seek out. Many successful people put their success, at least in part, down to having a mentor. Often a great mentor will advise you on key issues, but it's rare that you'll find one that will act as a fully fledged coach. Most just simply don't have the time. But what they can often do is to help you to understand two things. One, what you need to know, and two, how to get that knowledge. These two things alone can take your success to a whole new level. And now for something slightly different, meetup groups. The internet has proved a great tool, not just for spreading information, it has always been superb at bringing people together. Thanks to the internet, there are now groups of like-minded people meeting up and helping each other out every day of every week. and I'll be introducing you to one online service that's just perfect for seeing what's available in your area. You'll be amazed. Something that is similar in some ways to meetup groups and yet very different in other ways are mastermind groups. Benjamin Franklin was a massive fan of mastermind groups. As a young man, he started a group called the Junto, which, if I remember rightly, carried on throughout most of Benjamin Franklin's life, if not all of it. The Junto, like most mastermind groups, met up on a regular basis to discuss important matters, share their secrets, and generally help each other in whatever ways they could. If you can find yourself a mastermind group to join, there are literally thousands of them spread across the world. You're sure to learn a huge amount. It's great for networking too. Finally, we have people you know. When it comes to lifelong learning, there's an important resource that can often be worth tapping into, and that is people that you already know. If you have a skill and you want to master, and you know someone who already has that skill, what's the harm in asking them if they can help you to acquire it? You'd be amazed how willing most people are to share their expertise. I'm often asked by friends and family for help and advice on business and other things that I've had a lot of experience with, and I can't ever remember turning anyone down. In fact, it's a real pleasure to help someone who has a genuine desire to learn something. I've been lucky to have had some great teachers over the years, people who have really helped me in ways they've probably never realised. And so if there's anything that I can do to pass that knowledge on to my friends and family, then wonderful, bring it on. As I'm sure you now realised, there are lots of methods of learning, and not just books, as so many people think. And these days, you definitely don't need to go back to school to acquire the knowledge that you need. The world of knowledge really is all laid out there for you, like one of those huge medieval banquets. All you need to do is grab a plate and help yourself. In the next section, I'll be sharing with you some of my favourite resources in many of the sections we've covered here. I'm really looking forward to this, as there are some simply amazing resources out there that are guaranteed to have you mastering pretty much whatever you want, whenever you want.